Hey everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to the paradigm shift. Hey everybody, welcome to the paradigm shift. I hope you all are going to our page, theparadigmshift.co, and liking the page and reading all the content. Hey Kaushal, hey Prem. Hi Prem.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good afternoon.
Sorry, I forgot my earphones.
I have mine, and now you have to tell me whether I'm loud and clear.
Yes, I think you're clear.
Okay.
Toshki, can you confirm that if everything is clear?
My dear friend Kaushal is online.
Okay. Uh, Let me start with your introduction. I said, I think you're buffering a little bit. Anyway, you're okay? Yeah, okay. So he says everything is clear. Fine. We're in conversation with Prem Kohelo. She is the founder of God's Angels and Meals on Wheels. God's Angels is her project where she continuously is upskilling women with HIV and single mothers. Meals on Wheels is a commitment for feeding homeless and street people. Prem was an air hostess with Kuwait Airways for 20 years and then with a trainer with Franklin and Air Hostess Academy in Pune. She has been giving and serving generously the less fortunate for 15 years plus. She says this helps her to find herself and she loves her work. I think you're doing an amazing job. Welcome to the Paradigm Shift, Prem.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me.
So nice. Prem, so tell us, what is your definition of the paradigm shift? What do you think, according to you, is the paradigm shift?
Uh, Paradigm shift for me would be literally rolling out of the lap of luxury, from under the lap of luxury, which included, visiting five-star hotels, eating exotic foods, uh, traveling the world 100 times over, doing stuff like that.
Right,
Literally crawling out of the lap of luxury and going into the next phase of just giving unconditionally, without any expectation or any return, just giving till it hurts, and giving to see that others feel fulfilled and satisfied. So for me, that would be the shift. Also, I would look at it as making a difference in people's lives. Even if you can make a small percentage of a difference in people's lives, it is something that it goes a long way. You
right,
always have people, if you make, supposing, you were to give something today, you have
right.
someone who will come back to you maybe a month later, a year later, and say, Madam, do you remember me? You were the one who did this for me. So,
Prem, sorry, can you hold your mic a little closer or can you just push the
okay,
jack a little bit higher like we did in the trial? The jack of
okay,
this, yeah,
okay.
that should be good.
So,
Yeah, yeah,
okay. So I think giving unconditionally, and making a difference in people's lives is something that I've always done and wanted to do, and I've always been a people's person. So you know,
So good.
I cannot deviate from being a people's person. So the
That is
shift
so
which happened to me, I think it happened very organically, and it happened very divinely, I would look at it, you know.
Tell
So
us about it. When did this happen? Tell us about it. When did this happen? Did it start in your childhood or did it start after your airlines or when did this happen?
so
Tell us.
so I would look at my whole life of giving started when I was a kid. You know,
Okay.
I'll give you a small story. The story would be like, you know, school days. I remember my parents used to have a little bowl, and in that bowl there was always coins, and there was, you know, in the olden days, in that time we had 1 rupee, 2 rupee
Yes.
notes, 1 paise, 2 paise, 5 paise,
25%.
10 paise, all those
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
we had this bowl, and I remember, you know, when my father would come home, they would put all the coins over there so that, you know, that money could be used by my mom for giving to the dudwala or for getting bread or something like that.
Yes.
And I remember as a kid, I would be in the balcony at times and I would hear the beggar or I would hear someone saying, Amma, mere ko paisa deo, baby paisa deo. So I would run
Right.
to this bowl and I would pick up a whole lot of money and I would just throw it from the balcony. So, so
So sweet.
and the boy who used to work with us, I remember he was our help in the house. He would get all the firing and he would get all the shouting, and I
Oh.
would be like a little rat sitting quietly because, you know, till I was discovered once. My mother caught me red-handed and she said, "Where are you taking all that money in your hand?" And I said, "No, I have to give it to the beggar because he has to eat, you know." So,
Oh.
so I think my stint of giving happened as a child. Uh, and I, in a way, owe this to my mother and my father as well, because I remember as a child, I lived in Calcutta, and we had very close connection with Mother Teresa. Mother
Oh.
Teresa at that time was not known to many people. She was not famous. She just was in a convent and she was helping out orphan children. She used to
Right.
have a little basket outside at the gate where people
Right.
would put the children and the bell would
Right.
ring and she would go and bring the child in. So it was at that time that my mother used to give generously, you know, lots of stuff towards the cause. And my
No.
father used to work with Johnson and Johnson, so they used to throw away all the damaged products. And those damaged products, instead of being dumped into the Howrah, my mother took the responsibility of taking it and offering it to Mother Teresa. So I think seeing that, that was what created, you know, a shift in me as a child, which stayed
Beautiful.
with me throughout, you know. So I can tell you many incidents, but then as time went by, uh, as I grew up, as I joined the airline, I would make it a point that if I took 45 days leave, I would make sure that at least 15 days went towards, um, you know, a cause. So either
Wow.
with,
That is
yeah,
so good.
yeah. So either working with the terminally ill cancer patients or looking at leprosy. And I remember in the 80s, when you said leprosy, nobody even wanted to come next to you. So
Absolutely.
so yeah, so I think cancer was the most important cause for me because I have a relative of mine who has a home in Bombay called Shanti Avedna. So I would make sure that I would spend at least 10 to 15 days at Shanti Avedna, you know, terminally ill patients, how they are is that you could go there, you shave them, you cut their hair. They'll
Oh,
ask you, "Can you
so
bring me
sweet.
a drink? Bring me a drink tomorrow." And the sisters would say, "Okay, no problem. Get them a drink, or get them a cigarette, or get them a bidi, because this is probably the last wish, you know." So,
Oh,
yeah. So I think my giving has started from a very young age, and I continue to give, and I give till it hurts and till it makes a difference in people's lives. And this is
Wow.
what, yeah, this is something that I just love doing, regardless of whatever situation I may be in, whether I have the means to do it or I don't have the means to do it, uh, you know, I just want to do it. So far I haven't robbed a bank, so it's okay.
You told me the other day you went to the bank and then you went to the bank again. So, I'm sure you were planning something.
I'm still working on it.
All right. Okay, so
Okay.
tell us about God's angels. How did God's angels come? And then you can, tell us about Meals on Wheels also.
So God's Angels has been a very, I think, very divine movement of mine. Uh, it so happened that, after I left my job with Kuwait Airways, I came back and I was working as a trainer, and money was never the issue. When you're working for the airline and as a trainer, you get paid very handsomely. Uh,
Right.
so, uh, you know, I was doing this job, but with no meaning, absolutely no meaning in life, just very mechanical, going to work, coming back, going to work, coming back. And I felt that there was something missing. So, just out of the blues, one fine day, I decided I'm going to quit my job, which I did. And everyone was saying, now what are you going to do? So you'll age faster and you'll die faster. And
Oh God.
so I said, no, we'll see how it goes. So any which way, it so happened that I used to attend meditation, and of course, being a Bombay girl, besides doing social work and giving to the poor, I was a heavy duty party animal. Okay, so so you know how Bombay people are. They like to party hard. So I never thought that I would really get into this phase of my life. But I suddenly decided that I want to go and be quiet. So I started going to a place called the Urban Ashram. And Urban Ashram, they used to have a silent meditation. So we would sit in silence for 1 hour, and don't ask me what I used to do for that 1 hour. It was a great effort to sit in silence for me,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it kind of organically it happened. And so okay, so Urban Ashram happened, and slowly I got used to the whole idea of meditation and what meditation was really. And then someone proposed, why don't you go and go for a Vipassana? So I said, what is
Okay.
Vipassana? So
Right.
anyway, found out what is Vipassana, went and did my first Vipassana, and I loved it. I felt a shift come into me at that point. And the shift
Right.
was that I stopped watching TV. I stopped getting onto the com. I stopped all social media, whatever social media there was, like email and all of that at that point of time. I just stopped doing all of that. I just wanted to disconnect completely from useless things. I just had no interest at all. So while this was happening, I used to drive around and I would see a lot of people on the street, uh, you know, uh, uh, kind of hungry, not having food, all of this. And I would think to myself, what can I do to make a difference in their lives? And so Meals on Wheels is what first happened in
Okay.
2012. Yeah.
All
So
right.
first Meals on Wheels happened, and then after Meals on Wheels happened, in December, on the 12th of December 2012, and God's Angels organically happened in 2013. Okay. And how it happened was that I had gone to some sisters over here who do acupuncture. I'd gone for some treatment. And they had a special room over there. And I said, Sister, what do you do here? She said, Oh, we do a kind of a nutrition program for HIV people. So I said, Oh, that's
Okay.
nice. So I said, Can I
Okay.
come and do something over here for them? So she said to me, "What would you want to do?" I said, "I really have no idea, but just is it okay if I come?"
So
So I
sweet.
went, yeah, I went there, and I did something called laughter yoga, and they loved the laughter yoga, okay, and they asked me, "When are you coming back again?" So I said, "I don't know, but we will see." Uh, Dipshika, maybe about, I think, 3 days after that or 4 days after that, I was kind of in my sleep or kind of awakened probably in the middle of the night. And I must have, I don't know what, written down a whole lot of things because in the morning, um, in a book of mine, which was on the dining table and which I apparently must have brought it to my bed, I had written exactly what I wanted to do with HIV. I had written the name, I had written two
Wow.
poems, and
Wow.
yeah, so this all happened, I think, uh, whether it happened in my sleep or maybe I woke up but I had no recollection of it. Um,
Wow.
and and then I even had the emblem. I have a very small little tag. I don't know whether you can see it. So the
To
tag
hold
is
it
an
higher. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's an angel, okay,
Yeah.
and the red bit of it is the tag of HIV, and
Okay.
in between the red tag, if you see, there's a little heart.
Yes.
So, okay, so that heart is is something that I thought was that if you need to give, you need to give from your heart. So that's how the entire logo came about. Okay,
That's such a
and
clever logo. Such a brilliant,
yeah,
beautiful logo.
yeah.
Beautiful.
And I'll just read out one of the poems that I wrote at that time for the HIV people. I mean, I didn't know where it was going, but I wrote something. So the poem goes like this. My heart is filled with sorrow, but wake must I to face my morrow. 'Tis but my fate, and so I must not wait to make my way to a bright tomorrow. I I am not a poet and I don't write.
Wow.
This just came,
I have goosebumps all over.
yeah.
It's truly
So
divine.
so this is I think this project of mine was very divinely set up by God or by a superpower that exists somewhere.
Fire yourself,
Uh,
whatever. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I went back to the sisters, I remember, and I said, "Sister, I have a name, and I have, I have the whole synopsis of what exactly I want to do, and I have two poems. Uh, so I'm ready to start, and but I don't know where I'm going to start." And so she said, "Okay, we'll give you a space." So they gave me a space, and it was a little pump house, where the pump was there.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, so I kind of refurbished it, they helped to refurbish it. And I had around 25 to 30 people that used to come there. But
Wow.
I really didn't know what exactly we were going to do. But organically, it has been 7 years now, and in this 7 years, we have made things happen. And the one person that I would like to bring in over here is Louisa Nair, because she entered God's angels and she made a big change to it. So I had the concept, I had I knew exactly what I want to do and how I want to do it. But Louisa was the brainwave behind all the products. So we would sit and we would say, okay, I would say, Louisa, let's say we want to make a diary. How should we go about doing it? Okay, can we do it this way? Can we do? And she is a person who is a self-made person,
Okay.
who knows stitching, macrame, needlework, crochet, you name it, painting. She's a fantastic artist. Uh, so with her help, we managed to move along the path. So a lot of thanks goes to Louisa Nair, and I hope that she's listening in. So
She doesn't
so that
listen in here. She will see the recorded version.
yeah,
So
she will see the recorded version. So she has really, really, really helped in this. So this has been
amazing.
my actual starting and my shift, of my life, and I look at it as a full 360-degree shift. You know,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
from being an airline person and being a hardcore party person and then just going full circle.
Completely, yes,
Yeah,
completely in
you
service
know,
of the
absolutely.
needy people. It's
The
so
whole,
beautiful.
it was, when you say paradigm shift, this is absolutely a paradigm shift, for me.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because when we were having our conversations, like a lot of
yeah,
people say that they want to do something and stuff like that, but it's so difficult for people to break the paradigm and move. Like you just so rightly said that you broke through all the luxury that you had, and then to go and
yeah.
do everything so selflessly and so beautifully and so much commitment. Prem, tell us what were all the obstacles in your way, if you call them obstacles or if you call them opportunities. How did you deal with them when you started these
Uh,
two projects?
Actually, with Meals on Wheels, I didn't have many obstacles. The only thing is that I didn't have consistent people. Uh, there were some who were very consistent, who stayed on, but there were some who would come and then not show up. And Meals on Wheels is a very it's a kind of a program that I have where if you went 1 week or 2 weeks, you need to be consistent with it. And it's a commitment. So if you don't have that sense of commitment, then it's absolutely the whole mission is
Loses its
lost.
purpose. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it loses its purpose. So for me, I want people to be very dedicated to it, and it's very difficult to come by something like that. So there were
So
some
Prem, you
who's
were sorry to interject. So Prem, in Meals on Wheels, were you getting the food cooked at your place, or were there people donating food? How does this work, Meals on Wheels?
So Meals on Wheels, I the whole concept came about is that I would like people to have a home cooked meal, not something that is cooked outside. And it has to be a very nutritious meal. It is something
Right.
that I would eat, something that you would eat. So I always wanted to make sure that the food was fresh, it was made. So it was a joint effort. We would have a team. We had all the masalas and whatever we need. Supposing we had to make poha, for example, a morning breakfast. We started with dinner actually. So I'll give you the whole course. It used to be rice. It used to be a sabji. It used to be dal. It used to be a boiled egg, two paws, and a banana. Okay, and
Wow.
sometimes people would donate a packet of biscuits and chocolates as well. All right, so it was like a full course meal, and we would start in the afternoon at 2 o'clock, where everybody would come over to one house. We would designate in whose house we are going to cook, and we would start from scratch. We would go to the market, buy all the ingredients, come home, clean, wash,
So
cook, do
good.
everything. Yeah, everything. The whole nine
Good.
yards was being done. Whole
Whole
nine
nine
yards.
yards.
Yeah,
So
and
so good.
and we made sure. So we started at 2 o'clock, which we started on time. Uh,
Right.
and I would make sure that after we cooked, everybody has to taste the meal. Why? Because uh, I don't want food that is not good for our palate to go out. So the salt has to be
Amazing.
good, the spice has to be enough, everything has to be good enough to what is good for. If I feel it's tasty, then it's tasty for them. So we all
Right.
had to taste the food and then go out, and it still happens. I
Amazing.
mean, till before the lockdown, I made sure that everybody tastes the food and then leave. Nobody goes without tasting the food.
So
I-
good,
I'm,
so good.
I have had many restaurants. I've had many people who say I'm having a birthday tomorrow, or it's wedding party or something like that. Why don't you come and take all the leftover food? I will not do that because if I don't eat leftovers, so why should they eat leftovers? So that my concept, my funda, I would say, was very bang on that
Yeah,
I
thank
want
God.
very, yeah, I was very clear about what exactly I wanted. I would have people coming up with different ideas. I will cook in my house, you cook in your house, and we will bring the food. And I just said, no, we will cook in one house and we will go. So,
Wow.
so Meals on Wheels, it is something about commitment, okay,
Yeah,
absolute commitment, and that is at some places it wavered a lot. I mean,
right.
I didn't really have that, but of course I did have some who really stuck on, like Geeta Hazel, who's a senior citizen at 80 years, and she would still come. Yes, and I have one, Keshav. Of course, right now he's, locked down. But Keshav, right up till before his 90th birthday, he would come very religiously for Meals on Wheels. So
90th birthday, so good.
yeah, yeah. So
Amazing.
I actually I will post it on online on Instagram. A film that was made by FTII on Meals on Wheels, and they won the award for it. So
Wow.
I will post that, so you at least get an idea of what we used to do.
What exactly? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
and
tell us, yeah, yeah. Sorry, go on.
so this was the obstacle for Meals on Wheels. But regardless to say, I would always say that if I don't have a commitment of, let's say, 4 people or 5 people, it's okay. Even if I have 2 people to take the food out, it's fine, So I never bothered about it. But
Right.
where my HIV project was concerned, the obstacle that always came up was HIV. So if I work with the people who are HIV, I will get infected by HIV. If I
Yeah.
buy a product made by the HIV people, I will be infected by HIV. If I
Misconception.
come, yeah, if I come to the workshop and I work there, they would come work volunteers. And the funny thing over there is that in our workshop, it was all open on all sides, and it was on top of a mountain, of a hill, kind of a thing,
Okay.
hilly region.
Okay. Okay.
And we were surrounded by greenery, so a lot of mosquitoes. Okay, and I've had people with the most weirdest thought process coming up and saying, they'll come one day to help out, they'll come the second day, and I'm telling my colleague Louisa, it's too good to be true that nobody has said anything till now. And
Right.
then, and then I'll be asked, Prem, I need to ask you one thing. So what is it? I love working with you guys over here, but there are so many mosquitoes. So I'm just wondering, so if the mosquito bites them and then bites us, so will I get HIV?
HIV.
So, you know,
It's
uh, uh,
amazing.
it was very difficult to get volunteers, and it was very difficult for me to sell the products that we made. So,
Right.
for my initial years of God's Angels, myself and Louisa, we went through a pretty hard time trying to convince people that, so it was basically by very, very close friends who would come to exhibitions and who would buy.
Right.
Um, because the obstacle was HIV, so nobody would buy our products.
Right. Right.
So
And
I
tell
think
us about these we were talking about on our phone conversation, we were talking about these misconceptions, and you told me about this lady that, gave a child to tell us something about her so that we can, while we are on this conversation, we can clear up some myths
yeah.
regarding HIV.
So I I think from the time I started this project of HIV, during my flying days, it's just to give you a little hindsight of the project. Uh, During my flying days, I used to travel to Africa very often. Okay, and as you know, that HIV/AIDS was more predominant in Africa, and so. At that time, I used to have this very sad feeling for these people, and especially when I used to go to Paris, I remember I used to hear all these stories of them injecting the fruits so that HIV people would get HIV. Anyway,
Hmm.
so when I started this project, I was very happy to do so because I always had a soft corner for people, who have got HIV,
Can you
especially.
bring your mic up? Can you bring your mic up?
Yeah, sorry. So I was once nominated after I started this project. I was once nominated in Pune. We were six of us being nominated for good work that you do. So I was nominated for Meals on Wheels as well as for God's Angels.
Mm-hmm.
And these people, they said, we'd like to do a little synopsis on you, a little kind of a short film on you. So I said, no, don't do a short film on me. I would like you to do a short film on the lady who just delivered. So one of my girls by the name of Shabnam, she still works with me. She's been with me for the last 7.5 years, almost 8 years now. Uh, uh, she uh, she was infected by her husband who succumbed to HIV, and then Shabnam remarried. Okay, and she married a man who's not HIV. So
Right.
initially, when she got married, we used to all tell her, Shabnam, please don't get pregnant. Do anything, but please don't get pregnant, because we were not sure, what's going to happen to the baby. And as you know, that you could say don't get pregnant, but it happens. Okay, so she got pregnant, and we were all worried. She herself was worried, but I guess with the intervention of medicine and whatever you may, uh, Shabnam delivered a very healthy baby,
Wow.
sans HIV. He was not with
Wow.
HIV, okay? And
Very.
yeah, and the the most interesting bit was that she even breastfed her son right under our noses. So if anybody
Wow.
were to tell me that HIV is a contagious disease if you touch them or if you drink from the same glass, water or whatever, I strongly object and I strongly say that this is not true, because Shabnam literally breastfed Sultan under our noses, and he's a healthy baby of 6 years old today. Very,
Wow.
very healthy baby.
That is
So
so good. So
touch
good to
wood,
hear.
believe me, I'm so happy for him and for her. And she has got a wonderful husband. I remember she telling me that when she was getting married to her husband's father told him, he mocked him, if you're marrying Shabnam, do not come to me tomorrow and say you want to divorce her. Only on that condition you can marry her. And till
Okay.
today, Mokim is by his wife. In fact, now I have made him part of the God's Angels team, and
Wow.
so he works with us. During this lockdown period, I needed him because he's got a rickshaw, so he helped to take the ration to the girls, and he helped to take the salaries to the girls and stuff like that way. So yeah, so there are victory stories also, and there are stories that make you cry, and I've also noticed that the with these people who have HIV, there's sometimes, because I think it's so deeply embedded in them that I have a condition that is not curable. So they are full of vengeance. They are full of kind of hate, which is stuck very deep down inside of them. But I notice that if you give them love, if you give them attention, uh, they blossom into something different, you know. Because I've
So good.
noticed while doing work sometimes they get very agitated, you know. If they don't like certain thing, they can just spit it out on your face, and they can be very rude. Uh,
Oh,
and I have gone through it. I have gone through it. I've gone through the ups and downs of having issues and problems with them. But on the other side of the on the other side of the page, if I look, it has been a wonderful journey with them. You know, it has been
beautiful.
extremely wonderful journey. Uh,
Beautiful.
Another thing that I would like to say is that initially they used to be very scared when I used to put my hand out and I say, "Give me your hand, let's shake hands," or "Happy birthday," or "Congratulations" for something, and they would just hold their hand back and But today,
Oh,
yeah, but today I have noticed that they don't mind hugging me. They'll give me a hug
okay.
from time to time.
You've given
So
them that confidence that,
yes,
these
I've
are
given
all
them that confidence. So even when I have friends over, they feel confident to shake hands with people. They feel confident to give a hug to somebody. So that's
yeah,
it. Yeah. So my
so
journey
sweet.
with them has been wonderful. I simply enjoy my work. But
This is
I
like
wish that
complete respect for you.
thank you.
Sorry, go
But
on.
I,
Sorry, go on.
but I wish that more people would understand it and more people would come forward to help out even more, um, which is not happening. Not many
Right,
people want to come to help out in this
right,
space.
right.
Just for the simple reason because they feel that if I work with them, I'll get HIV. So
Yeah,
that's
Prem, can you hold up your mic,
yeah.
please?
Sorry. So,
Absolutely. So tell us, Prem, where are you now with all of this, and where are you right now? What, what are you into right now? What are you doing? How is Meals on Wheels and how is God's Angels going? Where are you
you
now with
mean
these topics?
you mean with the lockdown and the
Also,
pandemic that's
lockdown
going on?
as well as, yeah, and yes,
So,
how has it impacted you?
we've been reading about people getting evicted during the pandemic, doctors, nurses getting evicted and feeling sad for them. So during this pandemic, I also faced something like that. I got evicted from the place I was. I was asked to leave.
Oh,
Yes, I was asked to leave the place. But I looked at it very positively. I thought, okay, fine, you've asked me to leave. But I was scared at the same moment because I felt that now it would mean that finding a place, interacting with much more people, packing, shifting, all of that have to happen, right? So it really did make me very, very scared. But I think God is wonderful, and when He takes you to a problem, He takes you through it also. So,
wow.
yeah, so I would say, within days of being asked to move out from there, I managed to find a place. I spoke to my girls. I said, "Will you all come to help out with the packing and the shifting?" And they said, "No problem, ma'am, for you, anything." So we got together with mask and with plastic shields and don't ask what and gloves and
So good.
everything. The full paraphernalia
So good.
got packed and everything and moved. So now I'm much closer to my house also. But the only thing is that the girls who were working with me from that end, all the HIV girls, they find it very difficult to travel all this way to come here. So now I need to set up a new workforce on this side. And I also have to make sure that the girls on that side don't feel left out, that, they come visit us every 10 days. So this is a real big challenge for me right now.
Yes,
Trying
absolutely.
to, yeah, because this entire operation of packing, shifting, finding a place, getting it organized, having a threat of the coronavirus, because the place where I shifted, suddenly the next day I was told 15 people have been infected, so please don't come here. So I was wondering whether I got infected.
Oh my God.
You keep having those threats. You
Yes, yes,
understand?
yes.
So, uh, with all those challenges, I feel that today I feel a little victorious because I feel that I was able to overcome all those obstacles, and I'm still able to tell the girls, don't worry, you'll still get your salary, you'll still get your ration, you'll still get to do work with us. So just be patient, and
Right.
take it through. But I need people to come forward and with
Yes.
some kind of a donation or with some kind of a thing of saying that, okay, I will help out in this portion of it, or I will help out in
Yes.
this portion of it. Uh, because as you know, HIV, as I've told you before, uh, people are even reluctant to donate when it is an HIV project. Why?
Why?
I have
Oh,
I have no idea, absolutely no idea. And till date, I have not been able to put a finger on why people have this thing. Even when I've gone to companies where they have these, um, kind of flea markets in their
mm,
premise. I
yeah.
remember I went to this one specific IT company, and initially they were very excited. Oh, yes, you must come and put your products. And they saw my products, they loved it very much.
Mm,
And then, while in conversation with admin, when I told him he said, what exactly do you do? What kind of women do you work with? And I said, oh, they're all HIV, very openly. I mean, it's something that I don't like to hide or anything. I mean,
yeah.
what is the
Yeah.
truth is the truth.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes.
so the minute I said that, he was like, you know what, Prem? Is it okay if we let you know in a day or two? Because, HIV है, थोड़ा सा मुश्किल हो जाएगा, पता नहीं वो लोग हाँ बोलेंगे कि नहीं, तो give me a day
Yeah.
or two and I'll get back to you. A day or two
Right.
never came back. I'm still waiting for the paper.
Oh, okay. One question for you, Prem. There is a question for you from our viewers. Does your agency give an ATG if donations are given?
Yes, our agency does give. We are ATG provided, and we do receive donations, and we do give receipt, which is an ATG tax exempt receipt.
All right.
But if it's like a donation that is coming from abroad, then
Then,
we cannot accept
of
donations
course.
coming from abroad, as you know, because of the new rules. It
Okay.
has to come from an Indian-oriented bank. Okay,
All right. Okay.
so that's the only glitch over there. Otherwise, yes, we are open to, and we do give an ATG donation
All right. All
receipt.
right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
basically, I would like to tell all our viewers that everybody that is joining us from the paradigm shift, uh, Prem has, like she said, she's absolutely off social media. So she made this Instagram account just for us, and she's gone and posted some very good
Absolutely.
pictures about her work.
Yeah.
So all of you must support that. She's going to have an auction. Tell us about the auction, about your children's paintings, and when is that going to happen, so that then we can also promote that on the paradigm shift.
So when I moved to this new place, just to make myself known, I had to make myself known. So now, what is a way to make yourself known is through children. Okay, so this came very organically, actually. So I decided 15th August was on along the way, and I thought probably I'll give all the children paper, paints, and I'll tell them paint, bring it back. We're having an art competition. But of course, it didn't happen on the 15th of August because we had those cases of the pandemic
Yeah,
happening over there.
yeah, yeah.
So then it moved to Ganesh festival. So for Ganesh
Right,
festival, in the midst of it all, I decided, okay, let's give the paper and the paint. And I was
right.
amazed and shocked of what came through with the children. They took it home, they
Wow.
painted, they brought back, and it was amazing. So we picked three initial first, second, and third, and then we did seven
Right.
consolation prizes. And of course, the rest
Wow.
of the children who registered, we made sure everyone took a gift and went home. And then,
Oh, so
yeah, and then I came up, I said, why not I have this little club for these children? All these children are from lower middle class families, the place where I have my new workshop. So I told a friend of mine, Savita Dayal, I said, Savita, how would you like to be in charge of the art room? How would you like to take hold of these children and probably
wow.
coordinate with one of the girls over there so that we can see more art coming in and more things coming in from the children? So Savita came up with this wonderful idea of naming them the Shining Stars. So, uh, so we've named them God's Angels Shining Stars. And
Right.
what I did was uh, all the paintings which came in, I decided to frame them. And I thought, why not I auction them? So I'll start
Yes.
the auction at 250 rupees per painting, just
Okay.
250 rupees, okay?
Okay.
And
Okay.
I thought the highest bidder can take the painting. Now, if the highest bidder, say if the highest bidder bids at say 500, supposing, okay, and he says, okay, I have bid to 500, I'm going to pay you the 500, but I'm not going to take the painting. You put it for a rebidding, okay? So
Mm.
the rebidding will start at 500 and it will go
Okay.
on.
All right.
So,
All
yeah, and I thought
right.
that I will create a fund for the children, and um, this fund will look at giving the children who are our main artist a wish that they so wish for.
Oh,
So, yeah. So very strange thing. I asked one of them, so what is your wish? What would you like to have? Supposing if I were a genie and I were to ask you, okay, what's your wish? So he said, I don't know what I want. Maybe you could give me a paintbrush. I said only,
oh,
yeah. You see how simple and so. If you had to ask a rich kid, they would have said, "Oh, I want this or I want that," or given you some high funda stuff to give them. But this kid was so simple. He said, "A paintbrush would do. I don't have a
oh,
flat paintbrush, so I would like to have a flat paintbrush." And the
wow.
other two sisters who painted also, they said, one said, you could give me a box of oil-bound paints, and the other one told me, I don't mind some canvas. So I was like,
Wow.
ah,
So sweet. So sweet.
so
Simple
they
needs.
are, yeah,
Simple.
they don't have wants as exactly. They don't have wants. They have needs. So it is so naive and so simple, you know.
Yeah. Prem, I was saying they're as minimalistic as you are. You want to tell us about that?
Ah, yes, yes. Yeah, so I love living a minimalistic life, so to say. So I believe that less is more now, not as before, where I wanted everything that I saw. But now each time I wish to or I want to buy something, I always think uh, about others. But do I really need this? Do I really need to have this? So only then will I buy it. Otherwise, I really don't buy it. So I don't remember when I last picked up a pair of earrings or a chain or whatever. As you can see, I stopped wearing makeup. I stopped everything, no chemical at all.
Look
And
so
I
beautiful.
usually
You don't need
yeah,
makeup.
I usually have my airline friends telling me what has happened to you. What is this big shift that has happened to you? And I said even I
Wow.
don't know what has happened to me.
Yeah.
So
So, just before we finish up, because we're almost close to an hour, so just
oh,
before we finish up, let me please request all the people who joined from the Paradigm Shift to follow Prem Coelho's God's Angels page on Facebook as well as on Instagram. We will be tagging her in this
hanging.
readings and bidding. And if there's anybody, like she just said, that her company, her project has an ATG provision. So if anybody would like to donate, we will be putting some details and her contact number or email or
Yes.
website on this in this bio and in the
Yeah.
below the video. So please get in touch with her and lend whatever help that you can, whatever you would like to do. And everybody that is joining us from Prem's page, please join the Paradigm Shift page. We are putting out content like this. We're bringing in interesting people like Prem that are making a shift and moving from life which had everything from travel and shopping and partying, like you said, into complete unconditional social service for the homeless people, people with HIV, and now it's kids. And like when I said to Prem that you're empowering women, she said I don't need to empower women because they're already
Yeah.
empowered. And she's just upskilling the HIV mums and single moms, and that is so good. It's like complete respect for you, Prem, and I hope you can find all the help that you need. God is with you. Like you said, this was complete divine
Absolutely.
intervention, and the way you kind of formed this place, it was amazing talking to you. Would you like to finish this with a last word?
Uh, I just like to say thank you to uh, all those who have come together to make this. The most important person that I would really like to say thank you to is Louisa Nair, uh, then Geeta Murlidharan, and to the sisters for giving us the space that we had, to Dilnawaz, who has joined us recently, Savita Dayal, who has also joined for the Shining Stars, Raj, engineer, who is, who does a little bit of our legal work, and to all my friends, to all my relatives who have given unconditionally, and friends of friends who have not known about us, who have never heard of us, but who have just kind of heard from their friends or who have heard from my relatives and who have just given unconditionally. I just like to say a very, very big thank you. And last but not the least, I would like to say thank you to this beautiful senior citizen couple, Elvin and Sybil. So Elvin is a caregiver, and his Sybil is not really well. But there has never been a time when I have, just opened my mouth to say that, I'm having a situation, even especially during this time when I was evicted. I didn't know where the rent was going to come from. I didn't know how I was going to shift. And I just got one message from him which said, just go ahead and do it. You will have the money in your bank tomorrow. And next
Wow.
day, the money was in the bank for 6 months' rent. And this is something that is so commendable because I know people who are caregivers, people who are senior citizens, people who have money but find it very difficult to part with their money. So I send lots of blessings to him and his wife. And I have to
Amazing.
say a very big thank you to Elvin and Sybil for supporting us during this time and has always supported us financially. So immense gratitude to both of them and to everyone who helps to make God's Angels and Meals on Wheels. And thank you, Dipshika, for for this interview. And I'd also like to say thank you to Contagious Kaushal, because if it wasn't for Kaushal, I wouldn't have been here. So thank you, Kaushal, very much as well. So Dipshika, thank you so much. Thank you to Paradigm Shift as well. And I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us,
you.
Prem,
I'm
and
so
we hope to
grateful.
see a lot more of you. And I hope we can bring to you what you require for your God's angels, and lots and love and lots of gratitude and respect. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you so much. God
See
bless.
you. Bye. Bye. Thank you.